Whip out your shovels, because we're getting deep with this one. Hi, I'm Chris, formerly known as Seacox97, the Nerf General, and today I'm talking about the shutdown of Rooster Teeth, a company that meant a lot to me growing up, and upon reflection, I've realized that they were one of my biggest inspirations, if not the biggest inspiration for me pursuing film as a career and creating content on YouTube. And it stretches back over a decade, the history that I have with this company, and how they eventually lost me. So, without further ado, time to dive into my therapy session with Rooster Teeth. I don't know what the first Rooster Teeth video was that I ever saw. I know that Red vs. Blue had been around and I had noticed it, but I had never watched it personally. I do think I tried watching season 8, the first episode of season 8, not knowing, because it just said Red vs. Blue Revelation, so I was totally confused. And I also was like, why is there like a purple and pink guy? Where are the reds and blues? But I did watch Red vs. Blue very early on. And I also know that I discovered Achievement Hunter through Rage Quit and achievement guides. Those were the first videos that I was exposed to, and it unlocked an entire world. I became obsessed with Rooster Teeth content. I watched everything that they did. In addition to Red vs. Blue, I loved the RT shorts. I loved the first couple of seasons. I even bought the first 2 seasons on DVD way back in the day. Fear was a great show, Animated Adventures, Immersion, RT Podcast, especially with the star crew of Gus, Bernie, Gavin, Barbara, and Gus. 10 and 11 Little Roosters was a great miniseries. $1 Million Butt was awesome. On the Spot was a really fun improv show. And then through Achievement Hunter, of course, you got Rage Quit, Fails of the Week, Awu, Achievement Guides, Let's Plays like Minecraft, I mean also 2012 Olympics. I ended up really loving that game, so thank you Achievement Hunter for introducing me to a ridiculous game that not many people bought. I just fell in love with the personalities, these close group of friends that managed to create a company after striking gold with Red vs. Blue and expanding into an entire media, small little conglomerate company thing, and it was great. I loved it, and I was super excited for what they were going to do next. I went to RTX 2012, the second ever RTX. There I got to meet every single main cast member of Rooster Teeth. The cast member, I mean the employees, the people. I even got to meet my favorite person at Rooster Teeth, the guy who started it all, Bernie Burns. Here's a picture of me with him when I was 14 years old. Bernie started this company from the ground up. I mean, literally shooting Red vs. Blue in his apartment and directing and writing everything. He of course co-founded the company with the other 4 founding fathers, Gus Sorolla, Jeff Ramsey, Matt Hullum, and Joel Heyman. And this was in the dude's apartment. They came from a call center. I mean, he had to record Matt Hullum's lines over the phone so he could voice Sarge in the first season. It's crazy, and it's so DIY, just independent filmmaking at its finest. And working in a new genre, practically helping invent the genre of machinima, which would go on to be something that I really enjoyed, and I created Spartan Super Soldier through that. I even showed Spartan Super Soldier to the head of the film department at Art Center College of Design when I applied and got into college, and I explained what machinima was to him, Ross Lamanna, and he was impressed that I was so, excited for something new. I was looking towards the future of film and just creation and storytelling as a whole. And all of that stemmed from what Bernie Burns did in 2003. It was also during RTX 2012 where they had a special announcement that early in the morning, one of the days, you could join and be an extra on Day 5, this new show that would take years and years to come out. But yeah, the shot where Joel Heyman walks out and he is looking at the giant crowd, and then the camera pans all around him, and suddenly everyone is lying down. They've all fallen down. I forget the exact plot. I think that they fell asleep or something. But yeah, I'm in there. I'm in the background somewhere, me and my dad. And like I mentioned before, I got to meet everyone. That isn't something you could do in the later RTXs. 2012, though, was small enough that I managed to get every signature from the cast of Red vs. Blue Blood Gulch Chronicles on the original DVD box set. Then a year later, I went to RTX 2013, which admittedly was not as fun because it was packed. You could not meet everyone then, but it was still a great memory because that's when I got to meet Spencer in real life, one of my closest friends that I ended up living with as roommates for a year, like a little bit down the line. That's also where we filmed Nerf War Liberation for those Nerf fans out there. I of course had other DVD sets like the entire Recollection trilogy and also season 10, but season 9 is special because I got the signature of every freelancer, all the main cast of this. I got their signatures on season 9. I forgot about this till literally today when I went to go film this video. I also got to ask a question at the Red vs. Blue panel, which was,
hey, this is a question for all of you. What is your single favorite moment from the entire Red vs. Blue series?
And what's crazy is I still have that t-shirt. Unfortunately, Bernie didn't answer, and he was the one that I was looking forward to the most because the dude started Red vs. Blue. But Bernie, let me just tell you, my personal favorite moment, it has to be the ending of season 6, Reconstruction. That final line, yours truly, the former director of Project Freelancer,
Dr. Leonard Church.
That is one of the greatest twists in anything ever. It's up there with the Inception ending. I'm serious. It literally recontextualizes the entire show. The main villain, the director, is actually the original Church. And the Alpha, which was an entire mind-boggling reveal just a few episodes earlier, is based on him. It completely blew my mind when it first happened, and to this day, I get goosebumps every time I watch that moment. It was also at RTX 2013 that I got to meet every original member of Achievement Hunter, the original 6. They all signed my Let's Play Versus poster. Ray ended up denting my poster, kind of messing it up when I handed it to him, but I didn't care because he was my favorite member of Achievement Hunter. Now that Let's Play poster, I do not have it anymore, and we will get into why I don't have it later in this video. This is where we get into the real inspiration that Rooster Teeth meant to me. For those of you who have been following me for a long time, their influence is all over my filmography. I'm such a super fan that I made an intro for Awu. Everyone else would usually just make, cute videos saying, this is Awu number whatever, but I decided to make it into like a little short of as if the Achievement Hunter members were in a saw trap.
Hello, Achievement Hunter, and welcome to Awu. I want to play a game. You have 173 seconds to feed Gavin this plate of wet bread. If he fails, Ray will have to cut the tips off of all his roses and then stuff them into a cake. Live or die, Achievement Hunter. Make your choice.
For the week of August 5th.
A lot of comments on that video were talking about my intro, which was so cool. I felt like so just like excited and happy that like everyone, they liked what I made and I got to appear in Awu on an Achievement Hunter video. That was insane. But okay, let's now run through the long list of ways that I was inspired and maybe copied Rooster Teeth across my filmography. A lot of people can tell Spartan Super Soldiers directly from Red vs. Blue. I mean, Riley is clearly a Caboose knockoff. But another funny thing that Caboose had inspiration for, the I don't understand gag, probably the most well-known gag on my channel besides the ever classic when it's done bit. That came from Caboose, this clip right here.
Not gonna help. What? I'm talking to Caboose. Oh.
I don't understand. Are you hungry?
Yep. Me and my friends would just repeat quotes from Caboose, and that was one of them. And for some reason, I don't understand.
I don't understand.
That tone, the way he said it just stuck with me. And then when I was doing another 10 things you should never do in Earth War, I had this idea like, what if there's a hostage and he just claims to not understand what you're asking? What do you do then?
I don't understand.
Lo and behold, ended up becoming the biggest meme of my channel. The Deep Sheep crew, my close friends, we started a YouTube channel. We were doing primarily Minecraft videos, but did a bunch of other Let's Plays. That clearly is inspired by Achievement Hunter. I definitely wanted to emulate just a group of friends making gaming videos together and sharing their personalities. But of course, since we all lived on opposite sides of the country, our dream was one day we would all be in an office together, just like Achievement Hunter. And of course, our Minecraft series is directly inspired by Achievement Hunter's Let's Play Minecraft. We have Skin Town, which was our version of kind of their world. And really what I loved about that Minecraft series was that everything happened on the same world. So little things like if Gavin blew something up, that stayed there. That was history that was burned into the world, and you could see it. And in later episodes, they would reflect on that and say, hey, here's the spot where Gavin blew that up. And that was so cool to me, and I wanted to emulate that. And then season 2 was actually more inspired by Funhouse, which came a little bit later. And by that point, I wasn't really watching a lot of Rooster Teeth content, but Funhouse was probably the last hurrah for just that company as a whole. I really loved the Funhouse content and their editing style, and I tried to emulate that a lot in season 2. We also had Minecraft Shorts, which was a mixture of machinima and RT animated adventures. And of course, both shows were taken from podcast clips, and we had our own podcast. Panic, the live action web series about anxiety. The very end of that show is absolutely inspired by the ending of season 9 of Red vs. Blue, when Church says goodbye to Tex. Roll the clip.
I'm gonna miss you, Lily.
Don't say goodbye. I hate goodbyes. I mean, we are space warriors, right?
No, I'm not gonna say I love you. I'm gonna say I forget you. I forget you. I'm letting you go.
It's crazy how much influence they had in my career and how much they inspired me. I literally wanted to start a company just like Rooster Teeth for years. That was my #1 goal. And of course, real life got in the way and it didn't work out, but maybe it's okay that it didn't work out, because as we soon learn, not everything is meant to be. Quantity over quality, that's the summary, honestly. I mean, they made so many shows, and not all of them were hits, and even their best shows just went on too long. Red vs. Blue should have ended at season 10. I appreciate what they tried to do. Miles did a great job with what he was given, but ultimately he was working with characters that I personally, and I think a lot of us, had accepted that they had met their finish. They had completed their arcs. There wasn't more story to tell. But when you keep telling new stories, eventually it's like, where's the ending though? Every journey, every story has to have an ending. And if you keep going, eventually the real ending that you just passed long ago doesn't feel like that ending anymore. But yeah, the shows grew stale, the main personalities started leaving, and less of the founders were seen on camera. I mean, the group of friends started growing too much, and now we have this company with a lot of new faces, and some were cool, and some tried, and then some I didn't care for, and it became less recognizable. It felt less like the Rooster Teeth that I knew. Also, by this point, I was like later teenage years. I think I was probably around graduating high school, maybe entering college. I forget sort of around the timeline, but you know, I was making my own films. I was trying to get better and better at what I was doing, and especially big one, you know, Achievement Hunter, right? They inspired my Minecraft series. Well, in the Minecraft series, me and the crew of Deep Sheep, we tried to make every video as great as we possibly could. And yeah, it was a lot of work and it took way too long to get it done, but also we were teenagers working across the country. Yeah, we just couldn't get over this feeling that Achievement Hunter wasn't trying with their Minecraft series. Literally their star show, they had been doing so many episodes for so long. And it's like, okay, you're not really trying to get better, it seems. It just seems like you're churning out an episode every week. That's all that matters. And maybe it was forgiving to not be really great editors and, you know, these grand epic episodes each week early on, but eventually it's like, hey, are you guys headed towards something, or are you just churning out content? I would say the prime era of Rooster Teeth for me was in their second office. Then they moved to the bigger office, and then eventually they got bought out by Full Screen. And that's really where they started to lose me, because now they didn't own their company anymore. They had technically sold it. And sure, they claimed that all of the main personalities were still there. You know, Bernie Burns stepped down as CEO, but then Matt Hullum stepped up. And it's like, okay, at least you have a founding father still. Bernie Burns is still there, kind of like a creative director, producer, whatever. But the content started changing. I could tell. It became more corporatized. It felt more safe. Like more calculated, like we gotta be careful with what we're doing. We gotta appeal to the masses. We have to be nicer, more PG. And this shift was just something that we as viewers just kind of had to accept. They weren't really announcing these things. It was very much like, no, don't worry, we're still gonna be the same Rooster Teeth, but slowly we're starting to see the faces that we fell in love with leaving, and the content that we used to love growing stale or, you know, dying out, and then new shows arriving that didn't appeal to me and a lot of people, and I lost interest. Also, Ray leaving Achievement Hunter, that really hit hard because he was my favorite member, and that really felt like a loss. And also Jeff, he was really depressed a lot. It became very noticeable. It just slowly started dawning on me like, this doesn't seem fun to a lot of them anymore. It just feels like a job. And they kept saying, I'm the luckiest person in the world to have this job, but you don't seem like it. Now we're entering into the real world problems that started arising. The fun magic, almost Disneyland-like mystique of Rooster Teeth started falling away. I, like many other fans, wanted to work for Rooster Teeth for a long time, dreamt, you know, once I'm old enough, I'm gonna apply to Rooster Teeth. But Glassdoor reviews for Rooster Teeth were never good. And especially in the animation department, it was pretty known early on that it was a toxic workplace environment. There was a lot of crunch time and a lot of emotional abuse going on. And then you're getting into the misogynistic and homophobic allegations. I mean, Mika, she had a whole controversy and she and Jeff would address it on a podcast. That mystique is fading away and suddenly Rooster Teeth is feeling like not a very good company. And then 2020 hit. First of all, Bernie left. My favorite member, the guy who started the entire thing, is gone. So right away, that hurt. And then suddenly we're finding out Joel Heyman, the star child, the Caboose, fan favorite character, he had actually been fired, you know, months ago. He just kind of announced on Twitter. And I don't know the exact reason he was fired. It seems to be political reasons. He leaned a certain way and would kind of, tweet about things, and that went against company policy because now the company is not the Friends, it is someone else, and they gotta keep up that public image, gotta be squeaky clean. So star child Joel Heyman, goodbye. And then Funhouse, the members started leaving. Bruce Green left. He was the main guy in charge of everything. Lawrence Sontag would leave, and then suddenly, basically on the same day, 2 people got fired by Rooster Teeth. First person was Adam. He apparently was bringing women into the office and sleeping with them and doing weird things. And apparently recently there seems to be allegations that he was actually doing that for a long time and generally just harassing women and fans at panels of RTX and stuff. So, okay, all right, Adam's let go, and that kind of makes it hard to watch old Funhouse videos knowing Adam was doing all that the whole time. And then we get to Ryan Haywood, who Jack said it best.
I sat literally on the next desk from that monster for years.
He was accused of grooming underage fans and bringing them to hotel rooms to have sex with them. Meanwhile, he had a family with kids. And yeah, sure, it's still just allegations. Nothing legal has happened yet. There was a lawsuit that was dropped, but probably a monster. And then about a year ago, I'm cleaning out my closet and I find that old Versus poster with the signatures of everyone. So I sickeningly try to sell it online because, hey, I mean, it's a valuable, one-of-a-kind item. You're never gonna get a poster signed by all 6 members. But then I realized I am trying to sell something that includes a signature by a possible pedophile. So I tore up that poster and threw it away. And then we fast forward to a couple months ago in March when suddenly Rooster Teeth has announced that they are shutting down. In their goodbye video, I don't recognize 90% of the faces on screen. Jeff Ramsey seems completely destroyed, as always. It is clear that none of them made this decision. In fact, it's Warner Bros. Discovery, part of the conglomerate, whatever, originally started full screen or maybe not, I don't know. But all I know is that it wasn't the Rooster Teeth people that shut down Rooster Teeth. It was someone else. It was another company entirely. Here's an excerpt from the memo that was sent out by the general manager of Rooster Teeth. From Jordan Levin, it's with a heavy heart I announce that Rooster Teeth is shutting down due to challenges facing digital media resulting from fundamental shifts in consumer behavior and monetization across platforms, advertising, and patronage. So Rooster Teeth, let me explain to you, coming from literally one of your biggest fans ever, why you actually shut down. You lost who you really were. You turned away your original audience and appealed to the masses that didn't value your original work. And that great body of work, the original stuff that we fell in love with, it was too large and expansive for newcomers to get invested in. And it especially made it difficult when the new content you were making couldn't compete, and it wasn't very good. And it sounds like the friend group that started everything, maybe that friend group became a little too exclusive. Maybe some people became elites, that elite group, and they would abuse the new coming grunts excited to work for Rooster Teeth. And then it turns out you were keeping some skeletons in your closet. In fact, you were housing, maybe accidentally, but also maybe covering up for a couple real life monsters. I mean, you go from a group of friends passionate for creating things to a corporation just creating calculated content for an audience that didn't value your origins. And those that did value your origins, people like me, we had already long left. We did not recognize this new Rooster Teeth. The Rooster Teeth that inspired us. The gang that helped us find a community of shared passion for storytelling, creativity, growth, and friendship. So now, there's only one question left to answer.
Hey, yeah?
Clearly, Warner Bros. Discovery is here to make money. Rooster Teeth wasn't. At first, running a company with your friends is hard. I mean, business gets in the way of friendships easily. I mean, Joel isn't even in the Founding Fathers video that they just uploaded. You grew too large. I mean, hypergrowth just stifles creativity. When it's all about making the content and churning it out to people, you lose the time to focus on what you're creating and make it the best you possibly can. Instead, the bottom line is that classic bottom line. And, going off script, I wasn't surprised by Rooster Teeth's shutdown. I actually am surprised it didn't happen earlier. I assumed that they had a lot of subscriptions on their website because clearly the YouTube views were plummeting. No one cared about the new shows at all. I certainly didn't. Funhouse had long passed what it originally was. All the logos were changing, and it's just like, okay, yeah, you really are just trying to run away from what you once were. And I get it. You had horrible things happening, and maybe it wasn't your fault, but at the end of the day, that passionate core audience that you had built, I think you built that audience because you communicated with us. You really let us in. You made us feel special, like part of a community. But when you appeal to such a large mass audience, that mass audience doesn't have time to be passionate about one thing. They don't care enough to get invested to the point where they're going to your panels, flying out to Austin, Texas, trying to meet you in person, getting the signatures on all of your DVD box sets, appearing at a panel to ask questions, and just literally, like, you guys inspired me. But the only way for me to move on, as well as all of us who once deeply cared about this company, I have to do what Dr. Leonard Church had to do at the end of season 9. Voiced by Bernie Burns. My man. You started something big, dude. Rooster Teeth, I forget you. I forget you. I'm letting you go. Thanks for watching.